Opening the center immediately creates dynamic possibilities and contests key squares. Replicating the central pawn thrust instantly opens up symmetric lines, setting the stage for a spirited tactical skirmish or a patient positional buildup. This pawn push fortifies the center, eyeing development of the knight toward aggressive central control. Developing the knight to its most active square directly challenges white's central pawn, opening lines for counterplay and preparing castling. Developing the bishop towards the center. This piece eyes black's vulnerable kingside and prepares for castling, adding pressure to the d5 and f7 squares. Developing the knight here solidifies central control and prepares for potential pawn advances. But it temporarily blocks the bishop's diagonal, opening up diagonals for your bishop and preparing central pawn expansion. This offers solid development over immediate aggression. Pinning the knight against the king sets up potential tactical fireworks and challenges white's central control. Probing black's knight. This bishop development prepares a potential pin and hints at controlling the kingside. Challenging white's bishop placement immediately seeks to dislodge the attacker and question white's control. Sacrificing a bishop opens the king's defense, offering a spatial advantage. Reclaiming material with the queen directly challenges the bishop's influence, a decisive shift in the game's tactical currents. Bolstering central influence while preparing for kingside castling. This move sacrifices pawn structure for potential initiative. Solidifying the center while preparing for a future queenside expansion. This move strategically anchors black's pawn structure. Securing the monarch's safety opens avenues for development, eyeing central control and potential piece repositioning. Developing the bishop to the active c5 square places it on a powerful diagonal, eyeing white's king and creating potential for future threats. Asserting control over the center and preparing a kingside attack. This knight repositions aggressively to harass black's queen. Retreating the queen to d8 frees up the c-pawn and prepares for potential queenside development, though it surrenders central space. Solidifying the center and preparing to expand on the queenside. This creates a stable pawn structure for white. Asserting a claim on the queenside. This knight repositions, eyeing the weakened c4 square and hinting at potential queenside pressure. Aggressively expanding on the queenside. This pawn push aims to disrupt black's knight and gain a foothold, potentially cramping black's queenside development. Black disrupts white's pawn structure, creating a target on the queenside but opening a diagonal for white's bishop. Opening that b-file creates immediate pressure on black's queenside pawns, unbalancing the queenside pawn structure. Black aims to disrupt white's central control while repositioning their knight for future activity. Launching an aggressive central pawn thrust to seize more space and potentially open lines for attack. This exchange dramatically simplifies the position, opening up the f-file and immediately challenging white's central pawn structure with surprising directness. Seizing the open file, white boldly interrupts black's queenside buildup, aiming to exploit the exposed black king. Recapturing the pawn exposes your king and opens lines. Be vigilant about subsequent tactical threats as queens now control vital central diagonals. Asserting central space and targeting the queenside pawns with this knight redeployment injects immediate dynamism. Securing the king's safety is paramount. This castling repositions the monarch to a more protected square, aiming for a stable middle game. Opening the d-file now offers central dominance and aims to exploit the slightly exposed black king. Solidifying the pawn structure. This move anchors the knight and opens a path for the queen to potentially influence the center. Unleashing an attacking pawn spear. White seizes central space and aims to pry open the position for swift development and king assault. Reactivating the queen to the center aims to break White's pawn chain, though it sacrifices some queenside initiative. Reasserting central influence, the knight aims to pry open the kingside attack. This retreat of the queen secures her against further immediate attacks, preparing to contest the central pawn structure. Unleashing the rook to pressure the queenside pawn structure aims to destabilize Black's defenses. Protecting the king's escape route is paramount, as the queenside expansion opens potential avenues for attack. Unleashing a forceful check, White aims to exploit Black's compromised king safety and fragmented pawn structure. Relinquishing the central d-file to White's control solidifies their space advantage and presence. An immediate tactical challenge. Securing the f-file creates an immediate threat against the Black king, demanding a defensive response. This bishop's deployment endeavors to disrupt White's central pawn structure and activate its diagonal, potentially pressuring the queenside. Asserting dominance over the queenside with this pawn thrust aims to control more territory. Reclaiming the central files and preparing to challenge White's imposing pawn chain becomes the immediate priority. Unleashing a central pawn thrust, White injects immediate tension, aiming to shatter Black's defensive pawn structure and pry open lines towards the king. Opening the d-file suddenly injects dynamism and invites pawn structure chaos into the center. Opening the c-file now provides crucial attacking avenues and pressure against Black's slightly exposed king. Reclaiming the central square is paramount here, preventing White's pawns from dominating. Reclaiming the center with the queen signals a serious intent to contest Black's pawn structure and control the open files. Regrouping the bishop to a safer square, though it offers White the d-file for now. This pawn thrust dramatically reconfigures the central battle, threatening to trap Black's queen and unlock attacking potential. Opening the d-file invites tactical chaos, a risky gamble for material. Embracing open lines. This capture ignites a sharp exchange, potentially destabilizing Black's monarch amidst the chaotic center. Activating the rook here is a bold counterplay attempt, directly challenging White's central pawn and aiming to disrupt their coordination. Unleashing a knight fork, this move leverages the pinned queen to expose the king's defenses. Ignoring the imminent knight fork, Black prioritizes king safety, a wise decision given the open nature of the position. Sacrificing the pawn opens the f-file directly towards Black's exposed king, initiating a decisive attack.